justice for all.
We will move on to our consensus agenda.
So I move we approve vouchers for the month in a total of $987,116.94, and that's made up of $515,174.77 for payroll, $471,942.17 for claims. Also, I move that we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Patrons' comments. Seeing no one is present, we will move on to personnel.
All right, I'd like to recommend the approval, and there's quite a long list here, which is typical of June, but I'm gonna go ahead and divide some of those up into just groupings. So the first three here, I'd like to recommend the approval of the resignation of Heather Sell as a special needs bus driver, Wendy Ickes as a sixth grade volleyball coach, and Tracy Nicely as the high school business teacher, junior class sponsor, prom sponsor, and DECA sponsor.
Will we accept those?
Moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion?
All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
All right, the next one is, I would like to recommend the approval of the resignation of Jerry Newman as the corporation nurse. Just wanted to set this aside. She has given 18 years of dedicated service to our corporation. As I spoke to her last week, just simply looking to kind of slow her schedule down with fewer days, not 6 days a week, both at the school and or at the hospital. So, but just obviously within her letter, very cordial, thanking you all, thanking the staff members that she's worked with for such a long time. So I just want to thank her publicly for her years of service and just, yeah, thank her very much.
Move we accept Jerry's resignation.
I'll second that with regret.
I would say the same thing. Very much regretful
Me
to
too.
see Jerry leave. Any other
She
discussion?
bandaged me up a couple times after farming accidents when I come into school the next day with cut fingers and stuff.
She definitely.
She's like, "Get that electrical tape thing off your hand," and she do it right.
All in favor? Motion
Goes
passes
to show how
4-0.
long she's been here.
Yeah.
After I was here.
All right, the next looks like 5. I'll name them, but I'd like to recommend the approval of Joshua Taylor as a second grade teacher, Tennille Harms as a junior senior high school chemistry teacher, Carrie Kennedy is a junior senior high school business teacher, Kayla Gunnels is an elementary instructional assistant, Catherine Nelson as an elementary instructional assistant. So recommendation for new staff.
Will we approve those as presented?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Just a note on that, Josh Taylor, obviously a graduate of Triton, was also part of our education professions class, and he sat in front of me on one of our very last meetings that I had with him and said, you know what, I want to go off, I want to go to school, and I want to come back here and teach. He got the opportunity to student teach with Mrs. Schetzel, loved it, and is super excited about being here. Super excited to add Tennille Harms. You can't find chemistry teachers. So we are so absolutely blessed to find a really good one here. Has 4 kids in our school corporation, was doing a lot of subbing in the building, found out she has a science degree, conversations continued, and she agreed to do that. So super excited. Carrie Kennedy is actually Dane Kennedy's wife. If you remember Dane Kennedy, they've lived in, well, several different places, but most recently in Chicago, right? Am I getting that right? That was the last place. Moving back here, and so super excited about that. Definitely some ties to our community, and just really good stuff. So super excited as of June 12th to be fully staffed is pretty amazing. So pretty excited about that. So very, very thankful. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Next couple ones are really kind of some cleanups, one for summer, the other for just making sure that we've approved them through the board. So I'd like to recommend the approval of Logan Lind as a part-time summer custodian. If you, He works in our cafeteria, elementary cafeteria already. Kathy Engelmeyer as a part-time high school custodian. Alvin Chupp as a crossing guard. He had been subbing for us, but ended up pretty much taking over daily duties last year for the crossing guard piece of that. And so that would be my recommendation for those, kind of cleaning things up and making sure they're board approved.
Move we accept these.
Second.
It's been moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
The next four, Justina Faulkner, Rachel Watkins, I'm going to skip Kevin here, Nick Kindig, and Steve Watkins. These are recommendations as weight room supervisors. K-21, we are currently in the running for approximately $113,000 grant. K-21 Health Foundation, their continual push is, if you remember, they helped us with some tennis courts, they helped us with the weight equipment in the weight room. Their continual push and encouragement to us is how can we continue to get the community involved in what we would consider the hub of activity for our community, just simply because we're not necessarily close to a 24-hour fitness or those type of things. So just as you guys realize, we also had weight room supervisors throughout the school year. It's already been collectively bargained, but they really kind of gave us that next nudge of opening up the weight room during the summertime for patrons to come. And the individuals that I just mentioned, Justina, Rachel, Nick, and Steve Watkins have all agreed to be weight room supervisors at $30 a session to make sure that we have somebody, trusted individual in the room, making sure that if anybody needs help with technique or a spot, or just to make sure nobody gets hurt for liability purposes. That's my recommendation for those four individuals. And Rodney Eunice has come up with a schedule for them.
Each takes one night or something like that.
Correct. And I actually have that schedule. It's a Monday through Thursday. We're not
Yeah, I
doing
saw that.
necessarily Fridays. And I'll share that in my core value piece of that. But yes, they have a schedule.
I move we approve those.
Second.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Kind of stuck in the middle there was recommend the approval of Kevin Smith as a junior high baseball volunteer coach.
As a baseball coach.
Seconded.
It's been moved by Wes, seconded by Ken.
Is that hiring? Allow him to do that?
Allow. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have to do with band, color guard, volunteer volunteer coaches for band or color guard. So I recommend the approval of Raquel Tuttle, Madeline Scott for a volunteer color guard staff member, Trinity Milton, volunteer band staff, Karen Nelson, volunteer band staff, Mark Schwartz as a band parent volunteer, and Barb Schwartz as a band volunteer.
I move we approve those as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Earlier in the meeting, we had the resignation of Heather Sell, who was the special needs bus instructional assistant. So these next two recommendations, Allie Rohr as I recommend the approval of Allie Rohr as instructional assistant for the special needs bus. And then Brandy Cottrell has agreed to be a substitute. Typically this year when Heather was not able to be in there, we didn't have substitutes for that. But they're kind of tag teaming that, knowing what Heather did, feeling as if they would have a backup if for some reason somebody was sick or couldn't do that. So I recommend both of those.
Special needs bus aides.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Last meeting, we recommended the approval of and thanked June Klotz for all of her years of ACEs. So this next recommendation is of Lisa Hammond and Lana Hostrauser as elementary ACEs sponsors. They're going to co-work that, knowing that some of them coach in either season. So they would kind of cover the opposite season, whether that's volleyball and probably basketball. So my recommendation would be that they take over the ACEs sponsor.
I move we approve that.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
The next several here we'll do individually. So I'd like to recommend the hourly staff wage increase of 50 cents per hour. And just a note as we go through these, administrators' contracts, my contract will not be done until after negotiations as we typically do. Most of these are a lot cleaner if we can do that now so we can prepare that right away in August. So that's why we're doing those kind of disjointed. Tom has taken into account kind of what we know is approximately our ADM, approximately the new monies that we'll be getting, and approximately where we are headed with negotiations, and all of that is a hypothetical right now, so we'll get as close as we possibly can and clean that up later if we need to. But these are kind of where we think we're gonna land. So the first recommendation is hourly staff wage increase of 50 cents per hour.
50-cent increase for hourly staff.
I will second that.
Been moved by Wes, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I recommend the approval of the bus wage increase, and that is $2, an increase of $2.
Approve the bus driver wage increase.
And I'll second that.
Moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
The next one is salary employee wage increase, and this is $1,500 for those that are who are salary employees.
Will we approve that increase for those employees?
Second?
That came from Wes?
Yeah.
It's been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
The next are, I recommend the approval of the director, so this would be technology director, maintenance director, transportation director, food service director. Let's exclude maintenance on that because we just hired a new maintenance director. I apologize. But the directors over those individual areas, so that is an increase of $2,200.
Move we approve the director's wage increase.
Second?
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
And the next one, as we typically do, I want to thank Mrs. Cook, Mrs. LaSure, Mr. Yarbo, Mr. Eunice, Mr. McCann, for all their efforts. As I mentioned before, we do not actually re-bargain their contracts until after bargaining, but I would like to take this time to roll over their contracts for the 2-year term.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve that rollover.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Next, I would like to, and list was in your packets for fall coaches, I would like to recommend the approval of the fall coaching staff.
I'll move we approve the fall coaching staff as presented earlier.
Second that.
Been moved by Wes, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
And last but not least, in personnel, thank you for your patience. I recommend the approval effective July 1. Administrators and spouse contribution rate for health insurance will be $8,000 for single and $16,000 for family. Previously hired employees will be grandfathered at the approved rate. A lot of that is just trying to shore that up where everybody was coming in at different rates and just to make that a little bit more consistent. And then it allows us to bargain salary versus insurance and or benefits and salary. So
I move we approve that.
Second.
adjustment.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. On to business.
all right, I recommend the approval of the Northern Indiana Education Service Center request for proposal for trash service awarded to HIMCO. This is a different provider than NESIC overall chose, and just simply because we got a better price. And so I'd recommend that company, HIMCO.
Move we approve this, the trash service award.
Second?
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion?
Same service, Tom? I mean, same
Same size filters, once a week, yep, everything's the same. We went through the service center's bid. There was 3 different companies that bid. One of them didn't do recycling. Himco was actually the cheapest. The other one was our current provider. We just had a little bit of trouble with timely pickups and missing, and so
Okay.
talked to
Great.
Barry and Bruce at the time, and they were ready to make a switch.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
All right, I recommend the approval of the security film quote from Sun Control Center as we work towards redoing our offices, making those safer, just making our entrances safer. I recommend that we take the next step and do the security film on our windows.
We approve that quote and that installation.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, second by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I recommend the approval of the junior, senior high school fundraisers. The list of those was in the packet. Obviously, there's a lot of them that are staying the same, some of which we know that as they get closer may be adjustments, but they wanted to make sure that they shared the intent of what they're trying to raise money for, and obviously that's all listed in the packet.
Move we approve those fundraisers.
Second.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I recommend the approval of the junior, senior high school book rental and fees. The jury's kind of still out with what that's actually going to look like. But we will continue to keep our ear to the ground with legislation as far as what fees can be administered, what fees can't be administered, and then communicate that as clearly as we possibly can to parents so it doesn't feel as if there's a bait and switch. So, but we still have fees that we're going to have to pay in some way, shape, or form, whether that's through the money we receive or if we charge parents for certain fees that do not include curriculum.
So basically, this is fees we're approving.
Correct.
Or
This
fees.
is,
And I understand, we don't know what that's gonna look like when we're done, but there is no textbook rental.
There is no textbook rental, but we still gotta file the textbook rental form with the state. That's what they're gonna base our reimbursement for, so as far as getting those numbers, obviously we gotta come up with those numbers, and
yeah,
that's.
what you saw is not necessarily what we're charging parents.
It's what it's gonna
It's what it's
cost,
gonna cost.
Yes.
and then maybe the fees.
Yep.
Yep, okay,
Excellent.
There's a lot of babies, but.
yeah,
yes.
all right.
You mean they made a law that they don't know if they're gonna, are they gonna run this on it?
I move that we approve this schedule for the unknown fees and book rentals.
And
Who was to second that?
I will. I will.
I don't feel like giving them
It's
a lot of
been moved by
credit.
more
Ken.
explanation needed on
Yeah,
that?
it's been moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any other fun discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
There were a plethora of handbooks that were shared with, and I appreciate everybody taking a look at those and kind of the administrators making those easy to kind of see what the changes were. But I recommend the approval of the handbooks for the junior, senior high school, elementary school volunteer handbook, the substitute teacher handbook, administrator handbook, classified employee and athletic department, and the transportation department handbook.
I move that we approve all of those handbooks that are here.
I'll second it.
I heard Ken
Ken
first.
first.
Been moved by Wes, seconded by Ken. Any discussion?
Just that we probably should keep that email with all those little handbooks handy.
Yes.
You know, that'd be a good one to have around.
Yeah, don't delete that email.
I just wanna say, Nate, I appreciated your overview.
Yeah, that was really nice not to,
Which
It's nice for me too.
yeah.
Which meant I didn't really have to go through it all. Just those little parts that I wanted to.
I felt bad for Wes, so I was trying to make it as
It was all right.
Painless as possible.
I appreciate you doing that for me too.
All right, any other
You
discussion?
and Christine both did a fabulous job.
All in favor?
Preparing this.
Motion passes 4-0.
On to superintendent's report.
All right, continuous improvement. There are a lot of projects going on around campus. If you haven't seen during the day, just a lot of things going on. So we are providing more handicap access to the baseball diamond. As you know, we did a little concourse. We had a little hiccup of not thinking that somebody in a wheelchair would not necessarily have access from our concession stand to where the bleachers are because there was stone in between. And so we went back and we put some concrete sidewalks just to match those up. So it was one of those things we didn't think about until it happened, and the people were gracious, and it was definitely something we needed to take into account. So that is done. Looks great. You wouldn't know that it was added, so that looks good. The pad has been poured for the band tower, which is part of our bond project. Both the elementary and the junior senior high school office renovations are underway and don't look great right now because it has to look worse before it's going to look better. Ceiling tiles are being replaced in the trench, and the new cafeteria floor is in the process of being poured this week. So that was torn out last week, and this week they are here to pour that and begin to make that look a lot nicer. The Performing Arts Center will begin to be renovated the last week of June into July in preparation for the beginning of the year. Super excited about that. Summer school is underway. We have many students. I believe Christine reported out 17 elementary students, and I want to say, Mr. McCann, you said approximately 20. That's probably part of your report, but I won't belabor that. Shared leadership. The maintenance team, under the direction of new maintenance director Barry Baker, is doing a great job on the deep clean of our buildings and assisting contractors on all the projects that are currently going on. Our grounds looked great for graduation, and the dry weather is having Brian working really, really hard to keep our playing surfaces well kept, so I appreciate that. Social responsibility. I did mention earlier that the weight room will be open to the public during the designated times. Summer weight room hours will be June 5th through August 3rd, Monday through Thursday, and that'll be 6 to 8 p.m. July 3rd through July 6th, the weight room will be closed. That is moratorium week, and just a week that we try to just ask people to stay away, just to make sure that we're not even encroaching on our kids and their eligibility. So we are asking that you please sign in for our records. Enter through door 9 because right now door 4 is being worked on. So the original memo was door 4, but now we ask that you go through door 9 for that. 15 years or younger must be accompanied by their parent or guardian. I do also think it's important, and I'm not going to start naming businesses, but I do think it's important to thank those businesses as we talk about social responsibility who partnered with us and went above and beyond the call of duty to mentor Triton students who worked alongside during the year with whether that's a mentorship or a CTE program. So we have never had more students involved in that than we did this year, and it was a true success. Thank you to our counselors, the high school administration for making that a really awesome process. Accountability, just talking about how we include, not only with our staff, but our students, we try to keep a high standard of excellence there. Addison Beers, I want to congratulate her on qualifying for a state championship in shot put. Triton baseball team on continuing to improve. They defeated Michigan City Marquette 1-0 to get to the sectional championship. Drew Bingaman broke the single season stolen base record. So that's a great sign for Coach Elliott because you got to get on base to break a stolen base record, right? So the fact is he had guys get on base this year, and that really helped their record and just success. Triton softball reached the sectional championship. Triton tennis, Anna Lemler was academic all-state. I believe she also received the most improved award, just an awesome year. Girls track 4x800, Roy Heckerman, Macy Carson, Jocelyn Faulkner, and Katie Reichert made it to regionals in track. Boys golf placed second in conference, losing 13 shots behind Winnemac, and all boys will be returning next year, so I'm hoping for even better there. As we talk about high expectations, I want to congratulate 2023 graduates for their dedication to completion. They accomplished a record number of dual credit internships and had the most students ever involved in CETE classes. Alignment, shortly after our board meeting last month, we had the physical night. 156 sports physicals in a little over 2 hours were given. Special thanks to Nurse Newman, Nurse Mulligan, Mrs. Davis, Mrs. Stetzel, Mrs. Lindsay, Mrs. Firestone, Mr. Callahan, and Mr. Eunice for that effort. So those were $10 a piece, right close to home, just talking about doing everything we can as an organization to make that efficient for our parents. Evidence-based decision-making, a lot of time and effort has been put into internships and CTE classes due to the research that shows that students are more successful when they have the opportunity to apply what they have learned in a skill or a work setting. Congratulations to so many Triton scholars who received certificates or awards in the CTE programs. Students include, but are not limited to. I know once I start naming people, there's a possibility of leaving some people out, but I'm going to do my best. So Sean Stenson and Tyler Gladio signed workplace letters of employment, which is kind of like a letter of intent to go to a college to play sports or whatever. We're going to try to be more faithful in recognizing those students who are going off to businesses and furthering their work career. Aiden Ford, Kendrick Jones, and Zach Greer have worked hard in their precision machining class at Plymouth this year. They have earned the following certifications: measurement, materials, safety, CNC lathe operations, NIMS, CNC mill operations. So that's a lot of certificates. Mitchell Powell graduated from Skill not this evening, that was the post. He was part of the auto program. He was awarded the Top Gun Award, the Leadership and Attitude Award, and the Hoosier Old Wheel Scholarship. So congratulations to him. Pierce Brookins, Brady Snyder, and Mitchell have worked hard in their automotive tech class at Skill. The young men earned certifications in automobile brakes, maintenance and light repair, suspension, and steering. Pierce also earned electronic systems. Mitchell also earned electric systems, automatic transmission and transaxle, manual drive, train and axles, engine performance and engine repair, and heating and air conditioning. So all things of which I cannot do. So I am envious and say congratulations to him. My last reminder is just the fact that we have the board retreat on June 23rd. So 2 Fridays, 9 a.m. to 2:30 approximately p.m. at the Boathouse in Winona Lake.
Thank you.
Just to follow up to that, we were in, I guess, Saturday and drove down by the house that we had 3 students work on also. And looks nice from the outside.
Okay, seeing no one present, we'll move on to the building report.
All right, so Ms. Cook was not able to be here, so I'm going to read her building report. So the last 2 weeks of school, quite busy with many study trips, preschool graduation, 6th grade recognition, and all school field day. Thanks to our field day sponsors and many volunteers, teachers, parent chaperones, and bus drivers, these events were safe and successful, bringing our school year to a close. Following Memorial Day, teachers had training on the new science curriculum. Summer school teachers attended a day of training on the new curriculum, Learning A to Z Summer Theme Park, focusing on comprehension, and Sound Partners focusing on the fundamental skills of reading. We also had interviews for instructional assistants. June 5th was our first day of summer school with about 70 students in grades pre-K through grade 3. I'd like to thank our teachers and aides for taking time out of their summer break to provide fun learning experiences for our students. Five third graders will be retaking iRead 3 on June 20th, and the last day of summer school will be June 23rd. A big shout out to the Transportation Department for making this possible. Lots of projects going on in the building, as Mr. Riffle was talking about earlier, more so than just the deep cleaning of desks, getting new desks and chairs in late July, cafeteria flooring, changing locks on doors, new secure entrance in the office, just to name a few. And we appreciate the work that is going on all summer. Teachers have been and will continue to collaborate this summer in order to adjust curriculum maps and prepare for the next school year, which will be here very quickly. Okay. I'd say any questions, but I wouldn't be able to answer her questions. All right, for the junior, senior high school, graduation on June 4th. Just thanks for everybody that was able to attend. I know that's a busy time of year for people, but appreciate those that were able to attend. I think overall things went really well. Just appreciate those that were able to help put that event on. A lot goes into that, so that's much appreciated. A lot of activities leading up to the end of the year. May 12th, we had our senior picture and our senior walk. Those are always fun events for our seniors. May 12th, that night, we had our academic awards banquet. May 19th, we had Trojan Wars, which is a lot of fun. This year, we did it a little different. We were actually able to have a sponsor that took care of the junior high group, and then took care of the high school group, and divided and conquered. So that was just seemed a lot more manageable, dividing the two groups. So a lot of time and effort went into that fun day. May 24th to the 26th was exams. We did something a little different with exams this year in terms of junior high. Not many of our junior high students take exams, so unfortunately though, they're married to that schedule with our high school kids, and they will be stuck in a class for 2 hours. And that's just not a great thing for a junior high kid. So give credit to Mr. Yarbrough. He put some different activities together with some teachers. We got kids out of the classroom, our junior high kids, and they got to have some fun activities through the day, whether it was, another little field day or ice cream social, just things for them to do. And I think that worked out really well. Last week we had report cards go out for the second semester. Building projects, again, main office is going really well. Currently, they're working on the new counselor room that's going to be in the main office. So if you ever stop in, we can be happy to show you what that's going to look like maybe when it's done. They've removed that half wall that's right behind Mindy's desk, if you know that half wall. So they've gotten that taken out, doing some wiring and insulating, and it feels like that's moving pretty quick. So. Door 4 replacement underway, floor and ceiling tile throughout the building, and then, as Mr. Riffle said, auditorium starting later in June. So a lot of things going on. Summer school, we have approximately 50 students. It's a little more than 50 students, most of them taking one class, several of them taking more than that, and they do that via the Indiana Online Academy program that we partner with. And then just our new hires, Tennille Harms, Carrie Kennedy, just really excited to have them. I think they're going to be great and look forward to working with them. So, any questions for me?
No.
All right, thank you.
If there's no other business, we will move to adjourn at 7:35.